Hi, y'all. It's Alex, the Best Places social media manager. You're about to watch me interview Lynsey, the Best Places user. In the interview, we discuss her experience living in Salem, Oregon. Enjoy. Name and talking about where you're currently living.
Okay. My name is Lynsey Turner, and I currently live in Salem, Oregon.
Great. What about your experience in Salem made you want to reach out to us for the interview?
I just feel like Salem tends to be an underrated city when it comes to Oregon. A lot of people talk about Portland, and I don't think that they think enough about Salem. Maybe even they might think Eugene because of the University of Oregon being there. But we have my husband and I have really kind of fallen in love with Salem. And now we say, it's the only place that we would ever live in Oregon. So.
Great. What specifically about Salem do you love?
Well, when my husband and I moved here, so we moved here 7 years ago, and we're originally from the East Coast. And so we moved out here and loved that it's like a small city, but it's close to just kind of, in my opinion, kind of like everything. So Salem is an hour from the coast. So you can go to the coast pretty much all year long in Oregon, and it's relatively about the same temperature. You can't really get in the water, but it's beautiful beaches. I mean, I'm going to say during the winter time, it's obviously going to be rainy, but we have beautiful summers out here. So you've got the coast, beautiful summers here in the Willamette Valley. I know for about 3 months a year, it really does not rain. This is the secret that all Oregonians do not want you to know, is that it doesn't really rain in Oregon for about 3 months of the year, and the sun is out kind of all hours of the day, like 5 to about 10 o'clock at night. And so you have beautiful summers with some heat, but not really too hot. We love that Salem is only an hour from Portland, and so we can drive. And if we miss big city stuff, we drive to Portland and we have all the big city stuff. And then we're also close to the mountains. You have views of Mount Hood and snow-capped mountains kind of year round. And during the winter time, my family loves driving, up into the mountains and playing in the snow. So in the valley where we live in Salem, it typically rains. I'm going to say people living in the valley, in Willamette Valley, like Portland, Salem, and Eugene, don't get a ton of snow. But you're like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours from playing in the snow. So you have a lot of people that like snowboarders, and skiing's really big because you just drive up in the mountains if you want to play in the snow during the wintertime. And so we really love that.
Great. On the other side of things, what are some things about Salem that you could live without or wish were different?
Yeah. And that's a great question. My husband is African American. And so when we moved out here 7 years ago, we did not realize that Oregon is still growing with people of color. And so I wish that Salem and Oregon just have more people of color. And so I really think that there are great opportunities out here for people of color, and that Oregon wants people of color and to move to Oregon. And the state has become really open, especially like after George Floyd. People are like, oh, we really need to work on some things. And I love that Oregonians I see going, oh, okay, well, this is going to take time. We're going to do this, and we're going to work on some of our racial issues. So I think a negative is not enough people of color, but something I would love to see change. And I'm going to say another negative is that Salem Kaiser area is a city of about 200,000 and doesn't always feel or act like it's a city of 200,000. So sometimes our stores are like really, really busy because we just don't have enough stores. And so it's growing. And, we've seen that growth over like the last 7 years since we've been here.
Great. And with all that in mind, would you recommend someone else move to Salem? Sounds like you're pitching it pretty hard.
I am. I know it sounds, I would. And I'm going to say that because we actually almost left. And I would recommend living here in Salem, Oregon, because it's a great family place. This is actually my husband and I, we thought about moving a couple months, 6 months ago. We thought about, we were like, I don't know, and decided to stay here and kind of raise our family. We have 4 and 5 year old boys. And we're like, no, this is like a great, I'm going to say a great family city, especially like Salem is a really family oriented city. So.
Great. That's wonderful. You mentioned that you're from the East Coast originally. Yes. Where have you lived anywhere else?
Yes. So I am originally from Pennsylvania, and then I went to school and I lived in Virginia, and then we lived in Florida for a bit, and then moved out here to Oregon. So
Wow. Yeah. In those, what do you think was probably your biggest move, like in terms of culture shock?
the move. I mean, I said that the most drastic one is the one that we did 7 years ago, which was from Clearwater, Florida, to Salem, Oregon. And I think when we moved out here, we didn't realize how many differences there are between East Coast life and West Coast. My husband is born and raised. He's from Virginia. I'm from Pennsylvania, so we're from that Mid-Atlantic area, and I think the first year living out here in Oregon, we just went through a little bit of culture shock going, whoa, this is really different. Okay, this is different and this is cool. And like, okay, so this is how Oregon's going to do it. And so that East Coast to West Coast move was kind of, I want to say difficult. It was drastic. It's been something to get used to, but it's been a great experience as well.
Great. Yeah. What specifically about the experience stuck out to you as like extremely positive or extremely negative?
I think I'm going to say moving out here in general. I'm going to say negative. It's been the learning, I'm going to say the West Coast way of things. West Coast is like more, is definitely, in my opinion, more of a laid back culture. I'm going to say compared to the East Coast and having that laid back culture. I do miss swimming in the ocean. I really miss swimming in the ocean. My husband grew up in Virginia. We kind of miss swimming in the ocean. Love the beach. We can't really swim. The water's too cold out here. So that's been negative, but a positive is just there is so much beautiful nature out here in Oregon. Like we can hike to waterfalls, and there's just like so much natural beauty. Like Oregon and the Pacific Northwest. I know people hear about this, but I'm like, truly, there is like it feels like the Wild West still to me. Like I tell people, I'm like, no, if I'm from a small town on the East Coast, and so shout out to my hometown, Bedford, Pennsylvania, small town. But it still feels like the Wild West a little bit, where you're like, oh, things are still kind of like wild and nature, and you know what I mean? And so if you are, I would think that if you're really into hiking outdoors and you're like, I really like to go and get lost in nature, the Pacific Northwest and Oregon especially, because we have the smallest population on the West Coast. Oregon's a small state on the West, or I say smallest population wise on the West Coast, is a good state for that.
Great. Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who might be making a similar move sometime in the future?
I think one of our regrets when we were moving across the country was we moved a truck full of our stuff and we were driving, is that to take your time. Like if you're doing a cross country move, take your time and enjoy the views and everything that the U.S. has to offer along the way. I feel like we didn't take our time and we were just like anxious to get to our new home. I also would just be really prepared for just being open, and you have to be open to the way things are, how things are done differently. You know what I mean? I could tell you, I'm in education. I've taught in 3 different states now. I've taught in Virginia, Florida, and Oregon, and those educational systems are very different. And so I think just be prepared for changes and just go, okay, this is a way of changing things, and just kind of go with the flow and be prepared for even like some cultural shock, even if it's just a couple states away or something like that.
Great. Yeah. Super interesting. In all of your moves in all these different places across the country, has Best Places helped you in any particular way?
Yeah. So I think, I've been using bestplaces.net for like years. And I know we used it heavily when we were really comparing Clearwater, Florida to Salem, Oregon. And so we'd like scour the website. We're like, okay, well, like Salem, or like Clearwater compared to Portland. And, we knew we were moving to Oregon. What part of Oregon do we want to go to and stuff like that. And so we used bestplaces.net for a lot of those. I love the comparison, comparing the cities on that. Super helpful. Even like weather-wise, I feel like there's like a lot of good details where if I'm, I think kind of anybody doing any move, I would compare and use bestplaces.net to compare those 2 cities. I've been using the website for years. So
great. That's good to hear. We've gone through all of my questions today really quickly. It was super great listening to you. Before we sign off, do you have anything else you want to share?
I think if you are anybody who is interested in going, you know what, I want something kind of like less people, wild, a little bit wild and wonderful. Oregon is a good state for that. The population of Oregon is like 4 million people, and so I'm going to say that's not, it's on the smaller side. And so you've got that and just lots of nature, and it is wild and wonderful out here, and a great place. I'm going to say that Salem in particular, in my opinion, of all the cities, the major cities in Oregon, is such a great place to raise a family. So
excellent. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today. It was great to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know when we upload new videos. You can also follow us on social to keep up with the team and what we're doing. All of that will be plugged in the description. Leave a comment below telling us what you thought of the interview. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.